Okay.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. This is Tom Jones with Empower Network and the 1010 Formula team. Today, it's my pleasure to be chatting with a friend that I've met, oh gosh, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years ago at least. He is Dave, the Chef, Sheffield. And Dave is a motivational speaker, has been heard and seen all over the country. You probably have even seen him yourself. Dave, are you there?
I sure am, Tom. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's a wonderful opportunity, and yeah, it has been a few years. It's just amazing with technology how you can have relationships with people that you've just never met. So looking forward to meeting you in person at some point in time, but I'm very honored to be here with everybody viewing this wherever in the world they might happen to be.
Thanks, Dave. Dave, I really appreciate that. Dave, if you would, please, could you just take a couple of minutes and tell everybody about Dave, tell us about the Chef and how that came about and who Dave is.
Certainly, Tom. Well, the thing is, I speak for a living, and most people don't have a grip of what a speaking business is. I'm also an author, and certainly people that are involved in Empower Network or in any other group or organization that tends to have conferences and conventions, there's usually some sort of speaker there. I didn't wake up one day, Tom, deciding, wow, today I'm going to be a speaker, and boy, I can't wait to do this. Where I got started many, many years ago, actually I was 19 years old, and I started with a company called Electrolux. At the time, it was a direct sale, door-to-door vacuum cleaner company, and I was in Rochester, Minnesota, selling vacuum cleaners door-to-door, and did well, but I also discovered that there's a huge amount of power in leveraging the efforts of other people. And so I guess came up through the ranks, for lack of a better term, and was able to build big teams. Many of the crucial tools that I developed in my toolbox, as well as some of the tools that I share with audiences worldwide to this day, I learned from other greats like your Zig Ziglars, your Tony Robbins, and all that. Just simply being able to plug into people's why and what was important to them, and as a result, wound up having 3,000 or 4,000 people over the course of a decade working with me, a few hundred at any given time, and it was really a great thing. However, as you might imagine, door-to-door sales for a decade can wear a guy out pretty quickly, but yet I found that one of the aspects of my job, Tom, was to have morning meetings, half an hour every day, 6 days a week, to get my people pumped up to go out and knock doors and sell suck buckets door to door, if you will. And in the upper Midwest of the United States, it gets chilly up here from about November until March or so. So they really had to be pumped up. Other businesses started sending their people into my meetings, not because they had a desire to sell, but because they were getting something out, they were performing better. And a little light bulb went off. I said, geez, maybe I can share this with audiences, and just pursued that a little bit, hired a coach, and discovered kind of the road map, or the path, if you will, on how one becomes a speaker. And I've been blessed to have shared time with audiences more than, I don't know, 550, 600,000 or so people from 58 different countries worldwide through my motivating and engaging programs. And really, it's a lot of fun most of the time, and it's a terrific ability for me to leverage my time and impact the lives of many people that I wouldn't have otherwise met.
That is awesome. And Dave, you've obviously done a great job with that. I mean, you're out there, you're doing your thing, and that's just really great. I saw something that I hadn't seen before when I was looking at your website the other day. It looks like, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, this may be a new tagline, better your best. I like that, better your best. Tell us what that's about.
Well, thanks, Tom. And the tagline that I use everywhere is always better your best. And regardless of who you are, everybody can always better your best. Matter of fact, our viewers could visit my site at alwaysbetteryourbest.com, or I'm sure they can link to it somehow with this. And when you're always bettering your best, regardless of where you're at, we all hit plateaus in life. And it could be your relationship. It could be friendships. It could be your finances, your business, your physical fitness level or wellness level, if you will. But when you look at improving and always finding a way to kick it up just a little bit more, you're growing. And Tony Robbins says, hey, you're either growing or you are dying. And that really resonated with me. So always better your best is just something that people remember. And it's been a wonderful, I guess, battle cry, for lack of a better term, for companies, organizations, and for high-performing individuals, regardless of what field they might happen to be in worldwide.
I love it. I love that. Always better your best. Hey, I may steal that, but I'll give you credit for it, okay?
Hey, perfect. You know, as long as I get a nickel for every time you include it in an email, I'm cool, Tom. Just kidding.
That sounds like a deal. That sounds like a great deal. Hey, I wanted to ask you about something else. You made a statement recently that that I thought was really, really cool. You said it's not about achieving goals. It's about the person that you become along the way. Can you expound on that just a little bit? I think that's just profound.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom, so many times people, I guess a minute percentage of people, at least in the United States, I'm assuming worldwide the stats probably about the same, a very small percentage of people keep and maintain written goals. Now, I'm not talking about, hey, New Year's resolution, I'm going to lose some weight, make more money. Those are and have been the top two biggest New Year's resolutions, if you will, for Americans anyway, since, I don't know, the dawn of time. But when you approach goal setting as an integral part or a roadmap for your success, we don't get a test drive in life. I mean, nobody taps you on the shoulder after however much time and says, okay, now you've learned all your lessons. Can you go ahead and now you know everything you need to do. Now you get to go ahead and apply all those lessons. You can't do that. See, whenever you have a goal, it shapes you, it forms you, and perhaps you've had a goal of being a rock star real estate agent, and you were a rock star real estate agent, maybe still are. However, sometimes goals change, and that's fine. I mean, gosh, my goal when I was a teenager, I was going to be a rock star, and I had, you know, the long hair, and I was going to go on the road, and I did go on the road, and I just realized that it wasn't necessarily the life or lifestyle that I wanted. That wasn't just right for me. I love music, and I participate in music, and I still play from time to time, but my goal changed. But who I became in that process was imperative and important. And maybe your goal is let's say that you want to get into great shape, and a fitness goal, for example. Well, undoubtedly you're going to have more energy, feel better. You're going to maybe you want to look hot for your spouse or significant other, and those are all going to happen. But more importantly, you're developing the discipline and the tools and that little mental leverage that will help aid you in pushing you the next time that some kind of a seemingly insurmountable challenge pops up. That makes you say, you know what, I got in great shape and overcome these obstacles. I was dead broke and 9 minutes away from losing my home to foreclosure, for example, but I turned some things around, and I learned some valuable lessons, and now I've become much more I've learned valuable lessons, and I've added these things to my toolbox. And you know, mistakes are only mistakes if you do not learn from them. So just learn who you can become in that process and welcome the lesson. God's got kind of a weird sense of humor, and he won't always, he knows what we want, but he is not going to say, this is exactly what you're going to want to do, for example. He might say, geez, you know, I'm going to throw some serious tragedy into your world right now, but it's going to help completely refocus and reshape you and put you back onto the track that is intended for you, so you can become more. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question?
Absolutely. You know, it's kind of an aha. It's one of those, wow, why didn't I think of that? You know, that's just it's simple, yet it's profound. I really appreciate that. I'd like to change gears just a little bit. One of the big things that we hear all the time in Empower Network, and I'm certainly a proponent of this, is that you need to attend the events. You need to be around like-minded people and surround yourself with people who think the way you do and are big earners and have done things that you want to do and that sort of thing. And so I'm curious. I know you speak all over the world at these type of conventions where people are trying to do just this very thing. But what about Dave? What about the Shef? Do you attend those type of conventions for yourself, for your personal training, and what do you think about that?
Yeah, Tom, it's Jim Rohn had a great quote, and it was, you can't pay somebody to do your push-ups for you. And basically, nobody else can do your own personal development. It is personal. It is a commitment. Now, like you mentioned, I am blessed to be able to speak to great groups all over the world, and some of what I get to do is do these President's Club or VIP sales incentive trips in just awesome locations, islands, and all of that. But one common thread I find with all top performers, none of them say, boy, you know what, once I started becoming a top performer, then I made a commitment to attend events and invest in my personal development. It was all the opposite. They said, I decided that I was going to be a top performer, even though my results and or bank account didn't reflect it yet. But it was by committing to attending events and the people that I got to know there, and the synergy involved in getting around like-minded and success-minded people really, really propelled me to where I'm at. And I absolutely attend. I put that into my budget for any given year. If there's a really neat personal development seminar, or maybe if it's a writing seminar, if it's certainly speaking seminars, I attend different events because I need to stay sharp. Now, for example, let's say you are top of your game in whatever field you might happen to be in whatever part of the world. But if you were top of your game 5 years ago, 5-year-old technology is completely obsolete. The iPhone, for God's sake, is only 5 years old. So what happens when you decide to invest in yourself and get around others in events, you tend to learn things, you tend to create some great relationships, but more importantly, it pulls you away from the everyday mundane. And web chats and hangouts like this are wonderful. They're a wonderful, wonderful tool. However, nothing can be a substitution for being around others that push you, that drive you, and you're also insulated from all this negative news garbage that's on the TV, as well as your phone ringing and thinking, my goodness, I've got to do laundry or trim the tree outside or whatever is on your to-do list. You are solely focused when you're in there, and it's a great circuit breaker opportunity for you to flip your switch and change direction. Personally, I make a point at least every 3 months to go somewhere, and it could be 60 miles away from where I'm at. It could be a couple thousand miles away from where I'm at, but just to go and reset and reflect and see, where am I at right now? What kind of adjustments or changes do I need to do? And I also make a point to get around other successful people. I want to learn from them. And I'm sure most of your viewers here in Empower Network, Tom, and I know certainly you're a student of personal development who just devours it as part of your daily success diet, is people really who are successful love to share it. They love to share. So get around others. Ask, for gosh sake. There's no real mysteries to success. There's modeling. And what modeling successful people does is it just dramatically shortcuts the trial and error cost and time.
You bet it does. Absolutely. And I want to be mindful of your time, Dave, and I know we've pretty much come full circle here, but I'd like to kind of close out and ask you one final question. Actually, maybe a question with a follow-up. How's that?
Okay, perfect.
Where's Dave going to be in a year? What do you see yourself doing in a year? And do you have any final words of wisdom for our viewers?
Well, certainly certainly. Where I am going to be in a year, Tom, is I am a best-selling author, and I get to speak to wonderful, success-minded groups at various locations. One of the things I love doing is bringing my family with me or friends or whatever to some of these neat locales that I get to go to. So sometimes I'll have a little bit of work that I get to do where I speak to these awesome groups, but then we can build in some time to go and, I don't know, enjoy some of the local scenery or the beach or whatever might be there. So I'm going to be continuing that. A year from now, I just see it as an ability to leverage my talents and opportunities to help other people always better their best. I mean, there's a huge amount of satisfaction that I get when I hear from people who say, you know, I saw you speak a while back, or I read one of your books, and you know, it was sitting on my shelf, or I didn't do anything with it, but when I did it, man, let me tell you what I did. Now, that's nothing of me. I mean, I did not do it, but maybe I was a catalyst or a boot to their butt, for lack of a better term, that helped kick them into gear. And, you know, people do not have a clue as far as their potential. We live in a world of lack and fear and pessimism. And what my goal is to do is to help open people's eyes to what they truly can be. And, of course, I'm not a martyr. I mean, I'm going to also enjoy the ride. I'm going to be bringing my family with me and enjoying some of the accoutrements, if you will, of the prosperity lifestyle and the excitement. But you know, there's so much out there, and you just got to reach out and get it. But you got to take action, and you got to do something now. And I just completely forgot your follow-up question. So did that answer the first part of your question?
Actually, I think you answered the follow-up question too. That you started there with that proclamation about all the great things you're going to do, and the follow-up question was actually, and I'll just give you another opportunity here real quickly, if that's okay with you.
Certainly.
If you have any last-minute advice, any last words of wisdom for our viewers.
Yeah, I would say clean out your people closet. And what I mean by cleaning out your people closet is we all have relationships in our world and people in our lives that maybe they've been there, they usually have been there for a long time. Maybe they're childhood friends that we've just kind of hung on to, but the relationship is just really, really stagnant. Now, you can't get to where you want to go by hanging on to where you currently are. And sometimes there's toxic relationships that we just need to sever. Are these people drainers? Now, I'm not saying that this is easy. It's not. I mean, sometimes you need to love people from a distance. I'm not saying that if people aren't always up and inspiring and positive to be around, don't be around them, because that's not realistic. That isn't life. But what I am saying is if every time you're around, fill in the blank of a name of one of your friends or colleagues or whatever, man, they're going to bring you down. If they don't pump you up, they're going to bring you down. If they don't encourage you, they're going to bring you down. And that's why the people you associate with are so phenomenally crucial to your success, no matter how you might define success. I would also love to hear from your viewers or hangouters or whatever the appropriate term is. I want to hear what your goals are, what your ambitions are. And I'm sure we can somehow put a link up or something where they can pop by my site and share that, or maybe post on the bottom of this this blog or what have you as to what are some of their goals. I would love to hear what some of your goals and ambitions are, because it's so inspiring for me. And certainly if there's anything that I can do to help you create your ideal destiny and your ideal future, I'm more than humbled to do so, and I'm honored to do so. So I'm looking forward to getting to know a bunch of new friends here, and also to enjoy your success with you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Listen, I really appreciate you taking time to talk with us today and share your insight. We've been talking today with Dave, the Chef Sheffield, who's an international speaker, motivator, trainer, and author. And Dave, thank you so much for your time. You have a great day.
Hey, thank you so much, Tom. I really appreciate you, buddy.